An elegant, highly agile primitive pinniped beautifully tracking a lifestyle reminiscent of modern fur seals, rather than its true walrus relatives. It is a permanent fixture along the rich coastal waters, marine channels, and sun-dappled rocky reefs of early Miocene Oregon. Slender and compact, it lacks any trace of massive tusks. Its dense, water-repellent pelt likely showcases rich kelp brown or deep charcoal tones, providing pristine camouflage while resting on wave-washed stones. An exceptional transition specialist, it splits its time between land and sea, utilizing its evolving hindlimbs to glide through heavy surf or haul out with a low quadrupedal shuffle. It targets a generalized aquatic diet, actively catching fish but slowly shifting its hunting focus toward crushing freshwater and marine mollusks with its specialized, less sharp grinding teeth. When surfacing to breathe, it produces soft, bubbling huffs, frequently shares Pacific shorelines with its closest evolutionary sister group, Prototaria. Proneotherium repenningi is reliably distinguished by its unique skull metrics, including a continuous horizontal bone crest on its head, and its less sharp, crush-adapted cheek teeth array, a highly nimble, slender stem walrus that closely mimics the sleek body plan of modern fur seals and sea lions rather than its heavy modern relatives. It is a permanent fixture along the rich coastal waters, temperate island bays, and rocky marine channels of Middle Miocene Japan. Devoid of long tusks, it features a distinctively wide muzzle and exceptionally large eyes set into a skull with a noticeably narrow region between the temples. Its short, water-repellent pelt likely showcases mottled kelp brown or charcoal gray tones, granting immaculate camouflage on wave-washed reefs. An active and proficient marine generalist, it cruises through coastal currents with fluid flipper movements, operating primarily as a swift, piscivorous hunter of schooling fish. It transitions to land with a low quadrupedal scuttle to haul out on sandy beaches. It relies on specialized, flat cheek teeth to process its aquatic catches. It frequently emits soft, bubbling huffs, frequently shares its regional marine horizons with its close relative P. primigena. Prototaria planicephala is reliably distinguished by its flatter skull base structure, noticeably wider snout profile, and far more specialized cheek teeth layout. It is easily separated from the contemporary North American Proneotherium by its unique Western Pacific distribution and distinct cranial metrics. The foundational dawn walrus of its lineage, this highly nimble, slender stem Odobenidae closely mimics the graceful body plan of modern fur seals, rather than its heavy modern relatives. It permanently occupies the productive coastal waters, temperate island bays, and rocky marine channels of Middle Miocene Japan, completely lacking the long tusks of its living counterparts. It features a distinctively narrow snout, prominent bone projections near the eye sockets, and a slender head profile. Its short, water-repellent pelt likely showcases rich seaweed brown or dark slate tones, granting immaculate camouflage on wave-washed reefs. An active and proficient marine generalist, it cruises through coastal currents with fluid flipper movements, operating primarily as a swift fish-eating hunter of schooling fish. It transitions to land with a low quadrupedal scuttle to haul out on sandy beaches. When breaking the surface to breathe, it produces soft, bubbling huffs, frequently shares its regional marine horizons with its close relative P. planicephala. Prototaria primigena is reliably distinguished by its more ancestral, less specialized cheek teeth layout, a significantly narrower muzzle profile, and a more inflated skull base. It is easily separated from the contemporary North American Proneotherium by its unique Western Pacific distribution, an imposing, robustly built early walrus measuring an impressive 2.5 to 3 meters in length. It operates along the rich coastal zones and highly productive open marine waters of the Middle Miocene North Pacific. It features an exceptionally thick, muscular lower jaw structure paired with remarkably fleshy, vascularized lips. Its short, dense pelt likely showcases solid charcoal gray or dark seaweed brown tones, blending seamlessly with wave-swept rocky shores. A powerful and alert marine generalist, it cruises through offshore swells with fluid flipper propulsion and hauls out with a heavy quadrupedal sprawl. Armed with a massive bite force, it relies on hyena-like cheek teeth for an adaptable generalist diet, aggressively feeding on fish or tackling large marine mammals. Mature bulls produce deep, echoing barks, frequently shares its shark-tooth hill habitat with Allodsmus carnensis. While matching that species in overall physical dimensions, Pelagarctos is instantly distinguished by its much thicker jawbone, fleshier muzzle profile, and distinct, double-rooted cheek teeth array. A highly nimble, slender stem walrus exquisitely tracking a life in cold waters, mirroring modern fur seals rather than its heavy living relatives. It is a permanent resident along the subarctic marine coastlines, active volcanic bays, and wave-swept rocky inlets of the ancient North Pacific. Lacking the massive tusks of derived walruses, it features a beautifully streamlined body plan suited for agile pursuit. Its dense, water-resistant pelt likely showcases deep charcoal gray or solid kelp brown tones, granting immaculate camouflage while resting on dark volcanic stones. An exceptional littoral generalist, it glides through coastal swells using fluid flipper propulsion, operating primarily as a swift predator of schooling fish. On land, it transitions to a steady quadrupedal shuffle to haul out onto sandy shores. When breaking the surface to breathe, it produces soft, bubbling huffs. Geographically isolated from North American relatives, Kamchatkos sinelnikov shares the western Pacific horizons with Prototaria species. However, it is distinguished by unique skeletal details and its specific subarctic habitat range along the Kamchatka coast. It is easily separated from the contemporary, hyper-robust Pelagiarctos by its significantly lighter jaw, build and much smaller overall body frame. A compact, highly active primitive walrus, showcasing a slender body plan more reminiscent of modern fur seals than its living form. It exhibits notable sexual dimorphism, with robust males being visibly larger than females. It is natively tied to the highly productive coastal waters, marine channels, and island bays of the Middle Miocene North Pacific. Lacking the long tusks of later species, its dense, water-repellent pelt likely displays rich kelp brown or dark slate tones, providing perfect camouflage on wave-washed rocks. An adaptable marine generalist, it occupies an intermediate foraging niche between nearshore and deep offshore zones, expertly hunting small fish and squid. It glides dynamically through heavy surf with fluid flipper movements, transitioning to a steady quadrupedal walk when shuffling onto sandy beaches. Surfacing animals produce soft, bubbling huffs and barks. Frequently shares its specific habitat with Allodsmus and Pythanotaria. Neotherium myrum is easily distinguished from Allodsmus by its much smaller body length and ancestral, multi-rooted teeth layout. It is reliably separated from the nearshore-dwelling Pythanotaria by its superior adult size and intermediate offshore hunting behavior. A remarkable dwarf walrus measuring just 1.65 meters in length, representing the absolute smallest member of its family. Cloaked in a slender, graceful frame, it looks far more like a modern fur seal or sea lion than its heavy living relatives, entirely lacking their long, iconic tusks. It permanently occupies the warm coastal waters, shallow lagoons, and sandy bay horizons of Miocene Baja California. Its short, dense pelt likely showcases a warm palette of sandy tan and rich kelp brown tones, offering pristine camouflage on sun-bleached shores. An agile and elusive marine specialist, it navigates coastal currents with highly fluid flipper movements, occupying a completely different ecological niche than its giant, bottom-feeding contemporary relatives. On land, it transitions to a nimble quadrupedal shuffle to haul out onto sandy beaches. While its vocalizations are unrecorded, it likely produces soft, bubbling huffs and sharp barks upon surfacing, effortlessly distinguished from all other contemporary Miocene Odobenids by its unique, dwarf body dimensions and exceptionally slender physical build. It is geographically isolated from northern Pacific species like Neotherium or Prototaria, and completely lacks the hyper-robust jaw architecture seen in Pelagiarctos. A slender, highly agile ancestral walrus, measuring roughly 1.8 meters in length, boasting a body plan that closely mimics a modern sea lion, rather than its heavy living relatives. It occupies the sun-dappled kelp forests, active marine channels, and rocky offshore reefs of early-late Miocene California. It completely lacks long, continuous tusks, possessing instead uniquely enlarged canine teeth. Its short, dense pelt likely displays a solid seaweed brown or dark slate coat, providing excellent countershading while submerged. Exhibiting extreme sexual dimorphism, massive bulls aggressively patrol territory lines, undergoing prolonged seasonal fasts on shore. It is a highly active and versatile marine generalist, gliding through coastal swells with flexible flipper motions to hunt fish and squid, using functional, conical teeth rather than suction. When surfacing, bulls produce deep, booming roars and huffs, readily separated from modern walruses by its complete lack of long tusks and a flat, non-vaulted palate. It is noticeably larger and more sea lion-like than the older Neotherium. It is effortlessly distinguished from contemporary Allodsmus species by its unreduced, multi-rooted post-canine teeth layout and distinct ancestral lineage traits. An absolute leviathan of the oceans, this colossally built prehistoric walrus ranks among the largest pinnate and mammalian predators of all time, reaching an immense body length of over 4 meters and weighing a staggering 2,000 to 4,000 kilograms. It dominates the highly productive open marine waters, coastal bays, and rocky shores of the late Miocene to Pliocene Pacific Northwest, featuring an enormous skull measuring 60 centimeters in length, twice the size of a modern walrus skull. It lacks elongated tusks, retaining a more generalized mammalian jaw layout. Its thick skin is wrinkled and sparse-haired, likely shifting between rich seaweed brown and gray tones. A powerful marine giant, it glides through coastal swells with steady flipper propulsion and hauls its massive frame onto sand beaches with a slow, heavy quadrupedal shuffle. Highly territorial during breeding seasons, mature bulls produce deep, booming roars that echo along shorelines. Co-occurs across Pacific horizons with two close relatives, the type P. magnus and P. conoi. Pontilus baroni is distinguished from both by subtle, diagnostic variations in its massive dental tucket and unique skull ridge metrics. It is easily separated from the contemporary Megateria by its gargantuan body size, easily doubling it in length. An absolute leviathan of the oceans, this colossally built prehistoric walrus ranks among the largest pinnipeds and mammalian predators of all time, reaching an immense body length of over 4 meters and weighing a staggering 2,000 to 4,000 kilograms. It dominates the highly productive open marine waters, coastal bays, and rocky shores of the late Miocene to Pliocene Pacific Northwest, featuring an enormous skull measuring 60 centimeters in length, twice the size of a modern walrus skull. It completely lacks elongated tusks, retaining a more generalized mammalian jaw layout. Its thick skin is heavily wrinkled and sparse-haired, likely shifting between rich seaweed brown and gray tones. A powerful marine giant, it glides through coastal swells with steady flipper propulsion and hauls its massive frame onto sand beaches with a slow, heavy quadrupedal shuffle. Highly territorial during breeding seasons, mature bulls produce deep, booming roars that echo along shorelines. Co-occurs across Pacific horizons with two close relatives, the type P. magnus and P. baroni. Pontilus conoi is reliably distinguished from both by subtle, diagnostic variations in its massive dental tucket and unique skull ridge metrics. It is easily separated from the contemporary Megateria by its gargantuan body size, easily doubling it in length. The colossal type species of its genus, this gargantuan prehistoric walrus ranks among the largest pinnipeds to ever exist, reaching an immense body length of over 4 meters and weighing a staggering 2,000 to 4,000 kilograms. It is a dominant apex presence along the rich coastal bays, open marine waters, and rocky shorelines of the Miocene to Pliocene Pacific Northwest, featuring a massive, 60 centimeters long skull, twice the size of a modern male walrus. It completely lacks elongated tusks, bearing standard unspecialized canines instead. Its thick, wrinkled skin is likely a mottled charcoal gray or dark kelp brown, providing perfect countershading. A heavy-set amphibious generalist, it cruises through offshore swells with powerful flipper undulations and hauls its vast bulk onto breeding beaches with a slow, laborious quadrupedal shuffle. Highly territorial, mature bulls produce deep, booming roars that echo along coastal cliffs. Co-occurs across Pacific horizons with its sister species P. baroni and P. conoi. Pontilus magnus is distinguished from both by subtle, primitive crown characteristics in its massive dental tucket. It effortlessly dwarfs the contemporary, slender Megateria, easily doubling it in total physical length. A large, muscular primitive walrus measuring around 3 meters in length and weighing nearly 470 kilograms, presenting a striking, sea lion-like silhouette. It is natively tied to the highly productive marine coastal waters, rocky reefs, and island beaches of late Miocene Japan. Lacking the elongated tusks of modern forms, it instead bears moderately sized canines. Its dense, sleek coat likely displays a rich palette of deep kelp brown and dark charcoal tones, providing great concealment against wave-washed shoreline boulders. An exceptional and highly active generalist, it glides through coastal currents with powerful flipper propulsion to hunt fish and squid, transitioning to a steady, sprawling quadrupedal shuffle when hauling out on shorelines. Highly vocal on breeding beaches, males emit loud, echoing roars and deep guttural growls. Frequently shares its regional marine horizons with its close contemporary Pseudoteria. Odobenidae is distinguished from it by its more robust adult build and unique cranial metrics, including a differently shaped base of the skull and back muscle attachment points. It is more derived and heavily built than a Megateria. An impressive, large ancestral walrus measuring roughly 3.0 meters in length and weighing around 540 kilograms. It is a permanent fixture along the rich coastal waters, marine channels, and beach colonies of late Miocene California. Entirely tuskless, it exhibits an elongated snout that broadens near its robust, conical canines and a prominent, wavy bone crest running along its head. Its thick pelt likely showcases deep charcoal gray or solid seaweed brown tones, blending with wave-washed coastal boulders. An exceptionally powerful marine generalist, it glides dynamically through offshore swells with fluid flipper propulsion, hunting fish and squid. It uses specialized, bulbous, double-rooted cheek teeth to easily process its catches. It transitions to land with a heavy quadrupedal shuffle to haul out on shores. Territorial males produce deep, resonant roars and huffs. Shares its diverse Capistrano habitat with giant relatives like Pontilus and Gomphotheria. Titanotheria is instantly distinguished from both by its total lack of tusks. It is reliably separated from the tuskless Imagateria by its prominent, wavy head crest and much shorter lower tooth row length. A fascinating, heavily built evolutionary milestone, serving as the earliest known tusked walrus. It occupies the relatively warm coastal currents, sun-dappled lagoons, and shallow kelp beds of late Miocene to early Pliocene California. It features a short, robust muzzle with forward-projecting jaws, and an arched palate optimized for suction feeding. Highly sexually dimorphic, mature males possess prominent, recurved, continuously growing tusks, while females carry standard, proportional canines. Its thick, wrinkled pelt is heavily covered in a mustache-like array of sensitive facial whiskers. A dedicated bendic feeder, it glides through water with deep flipper strokes, using powerful suction to extract bottom-dwelling prey from seafloor sediment. On land, it walks with a slow quadrupedal shuffle. Males produce deep, booming roars. Shares its species-rich habitat with Titanotheria and giant Pontilus species. Odobenidae males are easily distinguished from Titanotheria by their prominent tusks. It is far smaller than the tuskless giant Pontilus magnus, which features a massive 60-centimeter skull.